All right, so this is going to be section 2 of unit 6, or sorry, lesson 2 of unit 6. So we are going to find the inverse of a function, and there's 3 easy steps. So number 1, we're going to replace every x with a y and replace every y with an x. So we're just going to flip-flop the x and the y. Then step 2, we're going to solve for y. So we're just going to move that back around to make sure, or to get y by itself. And then our last step is that we're just going to check to make sure that if we did the steps again, that we would get what we started with. So we look at number 1. Our first step is to replace x with y and vice versa. So to do that, we're going to have x is equal to y squared plus 1. All right, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to solve for y, so we have to get y by itself. So this is just moving everything over just like we've always done. So our next step is to solve for y. Okay? So the first thing that we need to do when we do that, subtract 1 from both sides. It's going to give us x minus 1 is equal to y squared. Now, we have not solved for y yet because we've got to get y by itself and it has a square on there. So in order to get rid of a square, we need to root it. So square root both sides. And that's going to leave us with y is equal to the square root of x minus 1. And that is our answer. Okay? Now, our third step is to check it. So we're going to do step 1 and 2 again. So we replace x and y. X is equal to the square root of y minus 1. Now, in order to get rid of the root, we have to do the opposite, which is square. And if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. All right? So that's going to leave us with x squared is equal to y minus 1. The next step, add 1 to both sides. We're going to have y is equal to x squared plus 1. All right, so we have solved for y again. Now let's look at this and what we started with. And it matches. Since it matches, we have solved that correctly. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead and I'm going to erase this. If you need to pause it if you finish getting your work, that's fine. I'm going to erase it so I have more room for the other one. All right, so step 1, replace x and y, x with y. So we have x is equal to negative 2 over y minus 5. Now, how do we get rid of a fraction? We multiply by what's on bottom. So y minus 5 on both sides, y minus 5. Okay, so that cancels this side out and we're just left with 2. All right. Now on this, we have to distribute this x to both. And that's going to leave us with xy minus 5x. All right, the first thing to do, add 5x to both sides. And there's nothing to combine that 5x with, so we're just going to have xy, this cancels, and it's going to be 2 plus 5x. All right. And the last thing, because we don't have y by itself yet, we need these two being multiplied. So we're going to have to divide by x. And that's going to leave us with y. It's going to be equal to 2 plus 5x over x. And that is our answer. Okay? Now, you can go back and check it, just like how we did with the first one, and you would just replace x and y. All right, so let's go to the next page. I'm getting too far ahead. All right, so we have h of x, and the thing that you need to know, h of x, or if you see f of x, whatever x, Z is also equal to y, okay? So it would be just like y is equal to the cube root of x and minus 3, okay? So those are the same thing. Now our first step, replace x and y. So x is equal to the cube root of y minus 3. First thing we need to do, add 3 to both sides. That's going to leave us with x plus 3 is equal to the cube root of y. Now to get rid of that root, we have to cube it. It's a cube root, so we have to cube it. And if we cube one side, we have to cube the other. And that's going to leave us with y is equal to x plus 3, and it is cubed. Okay? Next one. Again, h of x is equal to y. So we have y is equal to 2x cubed plus 3. So the first step, we need to switch x and y. So x is equal to 2y cubed plus 3. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides. So we end up with x minus 3 equal to 2y cubed. All right. Now we can't take the cube root yet because we have a 2 attached to it. So in order to get rid of that 2, we have to divide by 2. Okay? And that's going to leave us with x minus 3 over 2 is equal to y cubed. Now we can get rid of that cube. And in order to get rid of that cube, we have to cube root both sides. All right, and if you were to put the cube root of x minus 3 over 2 in the calculator, you're not going to get an answer, so you just leave it the way it is. So y is equal to the cube root of x minus 3 over 2. And that is our answer. And again, you can go back and check, just replacing x and y. I encourage you to do that just to get the practice in. Okay? All right, the third one. We have y is equal to negative 5 plus 6x over 5. Okay? Now, replace x and y. So x is equal to negative 5 plus 6y over 5. First step, multiply by 5. So we got to get rid of that fraction. So 5x, or 5 times x is 5x, and that is equal to negative 5 plus 6y. All right, let's get rid of that negative 5. In order to get rid of a negative 5, we have to put a positive 5. Okay? So that's going to give us 5x plus 5 is equal to 6y. Then our last step is to get rid of that 6, so we need to divide by 6. And that's going to leave us with, that's going to cancel, and we have y. It's equal to 5x plus 5 over 6. And that is our answer. All right. The next one, it says, are the given functions inverses of one another? So we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do it to both of them. We're going to see if it is the inverse. All right? So the first one, we've got y equal to 4 over negative x minus 2 plus 2. All right? First step, to replace x and y. So x is equal to 4 over negative y minus 2 plus 2. Okay? Now we're going to solve out for y. So subtract 2 from both sides. That leaves us with x minus 2 is equal to 4. I'm trying to make that look like a y. So 4 over negative y minus 2. Now, we need to get rid of that fraction, so we're going to multiply by negative y minus 2. It's going to cancel that, but if we do it to one side, we've got to do it to the other. All right, now we have to multiply that together. And since there is two terms in each one, we need to do the box method. Or FOIL it out, whichever one you like. So we have x and -2, -y, and -2. So y times, or -y times x is -xy. -y times -2 is 2y. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -2 is 4. So that's going to leave us with -xy plus 2y minus 2x plus 4, and that's going to be equal to 4. Okay? Now let's get everything over to one side, get the y's by themselves. All right? And this one is a little bit longer, but it's okay. Same process. Subtract 4. That leaves us with -xy plus 2y minus 2x is equal to 0. Next one, add 2x to both sides. Okay? That's going to leave us with -xy plus 2y is equal to 2x. All right, so now the next thing we need to do, and this goes back to Unit 2, greatest common factor, difference of squares, that kind of stuff. We're going to factor. Is there anything, because we have a y in both of these, is there anything that we can take out of both of those? If you look at it, it is y. So if we take y out, we're left with -x plus 2. It's going to be equal to 2x. All right? So now we can get y by itself. This is being multiplied together. This is being multiplied, so we're going to have to divide by -x plus 2. That cancels that. -x plus 2. Okay? And this is going to leave us with y is equal to 2x over -x plus 2. And that is our inverse of this first function. Okay? Now, before you go on, look at this and see, does it match this? No, it doesn't. So that is not the inverse. This f of x is not the inverse of h of x. But that's okay. We could still see if h of x is the inverse of f of x. Okay? So we have y is equal to -1 over x plus 3. All right, first step, replace x and y. X is equal to -1 over y plus 3. In order to get rid of that, multiply by the bottom. And that cancels that. If you do it to one side, you have to do it to the other. When you distribute the x to both, you're going to get xy plus 3x is equal to -1. Then let's get y by itself. So subtract 3x from both sides. That leaves us with xy is equal to -1 minus 3x. Now we need to get y by itself, so divide by x. And we're going to get y is equal to -1 minus 3x over x. And that is our inverse of h of x. Now, if we look at this one, does this one match this? It does not, so it's not the inverse. So your answer for that would be no. They're not inverses of each other. Now, if you were given an example or a problem of this, you may have one that's the inverse of the other. Or, well, you could do like f of x, and when you solve it out, it is the inverse of h of x. But h of x might be the inverse of f of x, and it's just because of the way the numbers line up. So you're just doing those steps every time. So just take the practice. First step, replace x with y and y with x, and then solve out for y. And then go back and check your work.